Once in a remote village in the midst of an African savannah there was a girl named Nia. Nia was not your run-of-the-mill girl. She was like the morning sun illuminating all about her. Her beauty was so unusual that it had the birds singing sweeter and flowers blossoming more vibrantly. Individuals from surrounding villages would travel miles simply to catch a glimpse of Nia. Her smile was a gem and her laughter a song that wandered in the breeze. If you are new, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and don't forget to share it with your family and friends. Also let us know where you are watching from. Chiefs and wealthy merchants came to see Nia's parents, bearing tokens of beads, gold, and cash. They told her parents it was an honor simply to stand before such loveliness. Nia's parents, humble farmers, were stunned by the commotion. They had never dreamed their daughter would be the pride of the village. Her father tilled the soil with hard hands, and her mother's voice was honey-like. They cherished Nia as a precious gem, aware that she was special, a divine blessing. In the village, each new day had its stories, but Nia was one of a story unto herself. From the elderly telling stories beneath the baobab tree to children playing at the stream, everyone had heard of Nia. They did not just look at her because of her beauty. It was her kindness that melted their hearts. Travelers went away with stories of Nia, her reputation spreading miles and miles away. But then things changed. The women in the village began to feel envious of her. They would whisper among themselves as Nia passed by, their smiles turning to frowns. They did not like being made to feel inferior by Nia's beauty. The men had nothing but words for her. They would return from work and remark, "Why don't you wear clothes like Nia?" or "Nia carries water so elegantly." Such words pained the women and their daughters. They were in self-blame due to Nia. Something important then occurred. A fellow named Tay had his wife sent home because she had labeled Nia's beauty as bad luck. Tay was enraged and sent his wife away to her relatives, and he told them no one in his home would disparage Nia. This angered the women further. Nia, oblivious to all this, went on living, but in her vicinity there was a storm brewing. The women's whispers became tales that were saved. People started saying that Nia's parents had acquired her from the river spirits, as they had been childless for 7 years before Nia was born. These tales spread hut to hut, growing out of control like a fire. The women, their hearts filled with jealousy, started plotting against Nia. They gathered in hiding, whispering, "We should do something about Nia. She took away our peace." One day they concocted a scheme. They agreed to poison Nia's food so that she could become ill. They thought, if Nia's dead, our husbands will look at us again, and our daughters will be seen. They enlisted one of Nia's friends, a Shah, to assist them, lying to her about Nia. Convinced by them, a Shah complied and added the toxic substance to Nia's food, but fortune favored Nia. While sitting down to eat, she knocked over the bowl by mistake. The food spilled on the ground, and a hen strolled by and pecked at it. By morning the hen was dead. Nia remained unaware of this. She thought it was a mere accident, but the women in the village were devastated. Their scheme had been foiled. Still oblivious to all of this, Nia started to sense that something was different. Individuals who used to smile at her would now glance away. They talked less and whispered. She was like an isolated tree in an open space. The eyes of the women were not as friendly anymore. They gazed at her as if she had offended them. The men still looked at her admiringly, but it did not make her joyful anymore. She would sit by the river alone, staring at the water and trying to figure out why everyone was acting so differently. Her heart became heavy. Her parents started to worry. They heard gossip from neighboring villages, rumors of schemes to make Nia leave. Her mother cautioned her, "Be careful, Nia. The village is no longer safe for you." Her father would stand by the window with a worried frown. One day Nia eavesdropped on women speaking. They were plotting something evil against her. Frightened, she knew she could not stay there anymore. That evening she made a difficult choice. She would be leaving the only home she had ever known. Early the following morning, before the sun was up, Nia packed a little bag with a bit of food, water, and a blanket. She glanced over at her sleeping parents. She didn't want to wake them. She knew they would try to prevent her from going. With her eyes filled with tears, she wrote, "I will be safe. I love you both." Then she went out into the chilly morning air and began walking away, her heart feeling like lead. What Nia did not know was that she was being trailed. There was a hunter in the village by the name of Kofi, a very brave and strong man. He was not an ordinary hunter. He was the best, and people envied him. Kofi had always observed Nia. He had observed her kindness and her soft heart. He also knew of the unrest in the village. After Nia left, Kofi planned to follow her to ensure she was safe. In the forest, Nia discovered a clearing quiet, with birds singing and a small stream. She constructed a hut of sticks and leaves. It wasn't much, but it was hers. At night, she heard the sounds of the forest. It was lonely, but safer than in the village. In turn, Kofi hid behind the trees, keeping an eye on her. Daily, as she picked fruits and brought water, he would secretly leave her additional food, some fish, fruits, or fresh water in a new container. Without her realizing, during night-time he kept close to her hut, listening to the woods so that no harm approached. Weeks turned into days. Nia became accustomed to her new life in the forest, and never knew she had a silent guardian, but there was one sunlit morning when she saw a shadowy figure moving. She was frightened at first, but then Kofi emerged into the light, tall and powerful, with a gentle expression in his eyes. Nia knew him from the village. She was shocked but not frightened. "I've been taking care of you," Kofi whispered. "I don't mean to harm you." He told her how he had cared for her, bringing food and water because he respected her strength and her kindness. Nia didn't know how to respond. She felt thankful but awkward. They started to speak, then laugh. Kofi taught Nia how to trap small animals and how to eat fruits. Nia introduced him to the shelter she built and the medicinal plants. As time went by, they grew closer. They trekked through the woods together, sharing stories and laughter. Under the canopies of tall trees and the sunlit sky, their friendship evolved into love. Things were not so great back in the village. Since Nia had left, the place was shrouded in gloom. The men who used to come by no longer visited. The gifts and barter they brought ceased. The market that was once full of color and activity had fewer stalls and visitors. The villagers felt the pinch. The women who had believed their lives would be improved if they got rid of Nia started regretting what they did. Their husbands were no longer happy and lively. Even the children missed Nia's stories and teaching. The village leader, an old man wise beyond his years, noticed all this. One day he summoned a gathering beneath the huge baobab tree. "We thought we were addressing a problem when we released Nia," he told them, "but we were mistaken. She wasn't merely a girl, she was a blessing to our village. Since she departed, our market withers, our children lose their way, and there's no happiness in our hearts." The villagers lowered their heads. The chief went on, "We have to retrieve Nia." He made the decision that rather than send the men, the women, those who pushed her out, should set off and bring her back. The following morning a party of women left. The trip wasn't easy. As they traveled through the rugged forest trails, they started to converse, first concerning Nia, then about guilt and regret. "We were so blinded by jealousy we couldn't see the truth," said one softly. The more they advanced, the more they realized how misguided they had been. On the third day they arrived at a little clearing. There in the center was a humble shelter. They moved cautiously, their hearts racing. "Nia," they called softly. "It's us, the village women." Nia arrived. She was different, tougher and more assured. But still her eyes had the weariness. The women could see how she had been living, the tiny fire ring, the grass mats, the nearby stream. They understood the bravery it had taken to make it on her own. They apologized one at a time. "We were wrong, Nia," they said. "The village isn't the same without you. Come back." Nia listened, her feelings a combination of surprise, sadness, and hope. "I don't know if I can return," she said uncertainly. "I was hurt badly. How can I know things will be different?" One woman moved forward. "We guarantee things will change. We have recognized the mistake that we have made. Your beauty is not a curse but a gift that should be valued." Nia hesitated, then replied, "If I come back, it is under one condition. I will be respected not merely for my pretty face, but for being a member of the village with my own feelings and ideas." The women assented eagerly. "We promise, Nia." The day Nia came back to the village was like the breaking of day to a new world. She was not alone. Kofi, the hunter who had protected her, was with her. The villagers came out, their faces aglow with smiles and their eyes shining with happiness. They clapped and shouted as Nia and Kofi passed through the village. It was a warm, sincere welcome. Nia gazed around at the familiar faces that now gleamed with sincere affection and respect. She felt a rush of emotion which made her realize how much she had missed home. The past bitterness was forgotten and hope took its place. The village had learned a valuable lesson, and Nia had found her place among her people once again. Over the next few days, Nia sensed the difference. People listened to what she had to say, appreciating her thoughts and opinions. Her beauty was still complimented, but no longer the only aspect that people noticed. They saw the person behind that beauty, Nia, wise and kind, spirited. The village flourished once more, the marketplace was alive, children's laughter filled the streets, and the community was more vibrant than ever. Nia was back in class with the children, bringing fresh energy to their education, and so everything came back to normal in the village. In the end, this story teaches us that jealousy and envy can cause great harm. It reminds us that everyone is special in their own way and should be appreciated for who they are, not just how they look.